Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome to a very different type of video. Today I'm going to be talking about why I generally feel Resident Evil 7 doesn't deserve as much praise as it gets, because I have been saying this for the longest time now that I personally feel as RE7 was a game that shouldn't have actually had its place in the Resident Evil franchise, let alone the title. Now, before I get into this, I just want to make a quick disclaimer. This is not me just hating on the game for no reason. I actually have some valid points that I want to get across to people that happen to be in the Resident Evil community or just generally love playing the games. So, take that with a grain of salt. If you want to still roast me in the comments for giving my general opinion of the game, feel free to do so. I'll take any sort of backlash if need be, but just to let you guys know, I will be breaking this video down into multiple parts, so I have like a list of things that I generally feel like the game shouldn't have had in the first place, like certain mechanics and certain weaponry and enemy placements, as well as bosses. Now, that's not all the categories we will have, but it is the majority of them I will be discussing in this video. So, with that being said, if you enjoy the video, please be sure to give it a like, and if you're new, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I try to be as consistent as I possibly can be, at least in this point in time. But if you like these kind of videos, feel free to let me know, and I might do some more in the near future. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Alright, so coming in at the number 1 placement, we have enemies. Now, throughout the entire game of Resident Evil 7, you will encounter a specific type of enemy that is called the mold. Now, the mold is a really lazy enemy in my opinion. Reasonings as to why: because the standard mold is just your generic enemy. You know, you have those enemies like, for example, in past Resident Evil games, you have just the generic zombies that are sort of in your way. So they're sort of like roadblocks to preventing you from getting to your destination. However, I personally feel like the mold didn't do that in RE7. I feel like they were just sort of just there because they needed some sort of enemy to, again, prevent you from getting to your destination. I don't feel like they actually served a purpose in the game. Now, the reason why they're there to begin with is because of story related crap, and not to mention the story of Resident Evil 7 is not good. I didn't enjoy a single bit of it. The only thing I would say that was okay out of the story was like revealing Chris Redfield at the end of the game. But other than that, no, I could care less about the story. So, while you're playing the game, you have, as I just mentioned, the standard mold that you will encounter pretty much at the beginning of the game and like midway through the game. Now, I would say about halfway through, you will encounter a new type of mold enemy, that being the nimble mold, essentially the counterpart for the standard mold. Now, just as the name says, nimble, they are fast and agile, but they have very low health, meaning you can kill them very easily, but the thing is they move so quick that it is somewhat hard to shoot them point blank. But still, not a big threat, especially when it comes to certain weaponry that you might have, like a shotgun, for example. You can kill them probably in like one shot if you hit them in the head. Even the pistol, if you have like enhanced rounds, you can still kill the nimble mode fairly quickly. So I really don't see the purpose of the nimble mode being in the game, considering just how weak they are. Yeah, they can be a pain on higher difficulties like Madhouse, but still. With that being said, I generally don't see them really serving a purpose, you know, besides just being annoying. Now, you have that. Now we're going to move on to the next type of mold that you encounter pretty much towards the end of the game, and this mold being the fat mold, or the bigger mold, however you want to call it, but I'm pretty sure their actual name is just fat mold. But similar to the nimble mold, but just the complete opposite. Nimble mold was quick and fast and had low health, whereas the fat mold is the complete opposite of the nimble mold, being very slow but very tanky, more health and whatnot, stronger. But that's it. Now, those 3 types of enemies I just explained Also, just to mention, the fat mold has something that's, you know, like a projectile sort of attack, which is pretty much vomit. I don't think the standard mold has that, nor the nimble mold, so I guess you could give them a plus for trying to do something different, even though it kind of failed anyways. But still, yeah, that's like the only thing I can really think differently than the standard mold, nimble mold, and the fat mold, is that one has a projectile attack, and that's it. But with that being said, I just explained to you guys the 3 types of enemies that you will encounter through the game, and guess what? That is the only type of enemies you will encounter. There's no other enemies in the game. Capcom was so lazy in terms of the enemy design that it honestly disgusts me. Like, how can you have just 3 types of enemies and that's it? Look at Resident Evil 2. Tell me how many different variants of enemies were in that game. Look at Resident Evil 1. Same thing. Look at Resident Evil 3 Nemesis original, and so on and so forth. Look at the enemy design on those games, and you can't tell me that neither one of those original titles are better than the enemy design on Resident Evil 7. I will highly disagree if you did say that. Now again, everyone has the right to their opinions, and I'm not slashing on people for saying, oh, you know, what's wrong with the RE7 enemy types? I actually thoroughly enjoyed them. Cool. If you enjoyed them, that's great. But what I'm saying personally, I feel like they went the lazy route where they could have easily done so much with the mold. They could have done so much as opposed to just doing 3 things with them. Considering you're going to be going up against that type of enemy throughout the entire game, wouldn't they have thought to probably add more? You know, it's like, what would have hurt there? I don't understand it. So, yeah, that's going to be the #1 placement. Enemies absolutely suck in this game. There is nothing good about the mold whatsoever. I don't care if we're talking standard mold, nimble mold, the big mold, either one, they all suck. So, there you go. Now, coming down to #2, we have weaponry. Now, I did mention this in the intro, but unlike the intro, I didn't get in depth into it. So, basically, I believe there's a total of 7 weapons that you get. Now, I could be wrong. Out of the original, like, weapon set that you will acquire in the story, let alone, we're excluding special weapons, just weapons you get while you're on your journey from start to finish. I believe, I could be wrong. If someone wants to correct me this in the comments or whatever, I didn't look this up beforehand, but just going by my basic memory from the last time I played the game, like legit, I would say there's like 7 types of weapons you can get in the game. And now at first glance, when you're listening to that, you're probably thinking, I mean, seven weapons, I mean, that's not terrible. I mean, it depends on what the weapons are and how strong they are. Yeah, true. But when you look at other titles of Resident Evil, I'm going back to other titles, how many weapons were in Resident Evil 2 original? How many weapons were in RE1 remake? Or vice versa, you know? It's like, I guarantee there's more than 7 firearms in those games. And if there is, and if there isn't, which I doubt, hey, someone can easily mistake me and say, you know, hey, you know, you're just bringing up false information, whatever, I don't really care. But yeah, the weaponry is very lackluster because, like, truth be told, you have what, like, this just a standard pistol, a shotgun. There's no sniper in the game. There's no sniper whatsoever, but there is a grenade launcher, which is okay. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it could have been better, considering I think that's like the strongest weapon you're supposed to get, besides the stake magnum. So I would have wanted more out of the grenade launcher, but again, I'm not complaining. It's a weapon. A weapon is a weapon. If it gets the job done, it gets the job done. Whatever. But yeah, you have your standard pistol, your shotgun, your grenade launcher. You have your knife, which your knife absolutely sucks. I mean, nothing really surprising. The knife has just always been known for being trash in Resident Evil games, so can't really go hard on that. But with that being said, there's not much in terms of weapons in the game. There really isn't. Like, there's a mini SMG that you can acquire while playing Mia's portions of the game. By the way, Mia's portions absolutely suck. I don't understand what they're thinking with adding the Mia sections. Now I understand it's pretty obvious, but I think the reason why they added Mia sections to the game is to obviously show beforehand how things gotten, with the mold, and how it just mutated and just increases inside of the numbers, which makes sense. It does make sense. But that being said, the Mia sections are just very slow. They're not engaging. They're not nothing. They're there's nothing. They really do suck. But we're not talking about the Mia sections right now. We're talking about the weaponry. So you can encounter an SMG when you're playing as Mia, a different type of pistol, which again isn't really much considering the first pistol you get with Ethan isn't even good. So the pistol you acquire with Mia is even worse. So I don't even think it should even count as a whole entire different pistol if it absolutely sucks. I mean, yeah, you can count it, but still, I personally wouldn't. You got the trap mines you can get as well with her, and I think you can get it towards the end of the game with Ethan, if I'm not mistaken. But she gets him first before he does. So again, I generally don't feel like the weaponry in RE7 was overwhelming, nor was it really shocking or saying, wow, this gun is great, it's amazing, it gets the job done. Now again, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and pretend like you're using water guns against your enemies, though it did feel like that in certain sections of the game, but that's not the case for some weapons. For some, like just the standard ammo for the, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a G11. It is not a strong weapon. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a pistol. Your pistols aren't really supposed to be breathtakingly strong in Resident Evil games, but you want to feel like you're doing something to your enemies and bosses. Well, you're just using standard ammo with the G11. You literally feel like you're doing nothing. So I don't understand why even adding to just a standard. What they should have done, instead of adding enhanced ammo to your magazine, they should have easily just put the enhanced ammo as just the counterpart for the standard ammo. So you just have enhanced ammo all the time. Because that's how a pistol should fire. It should feel like you're actually doing something to your enemy, not just tapping them like, again, like you're using some sort of like super soaker and you just expect, hey, oh, he's just gonna roll on the floor and just die, that's definitely how it works. No, not the case. At least it's not the case with this gun. And you could say that with some other weapons as well. I think the shotgun has enhanced rounds, if I'm not mistaken. It could be wrong. But again, this is all going off memory. I haven't played the game in a while, so at least a legit run, if I'm being totally honest. I have played through it recently, but I was doing a challenge and not really playing it as if I got in a mood and said, wow, I want to just do it. Nothing. I said, wow, I just want to play RE7 right now. I would never say that because I know how terrible this game is. And again, to make this very clear, I'm not hating on the game just to hate on it. I actually have valid points for hating on it. So this was in the number 2 placement. Weaponry was very lackluster. I don't understand why they didn't just add more weapons in the game, considering they don't have that much enemies to go up against. So you might as well add more weapons to balance that out. But, what can I say? They didn't do it, so not gonna complain. But yeah, I'll see you guys in part 3, or top 3. Alright, now coming into the 3rd spot, we have special items. Now, if you guys are familiar with the Resident Evil franchise in a whole, you'll know that each time you beat the game, you can acquire a special weapon. Now, to acquire, different types of special weapons, you need to do specific requirements in order to do so. For example, I don't know, finish a game in like an hour and a half or something like that without any saves. Then once you complete that, you will then see a special item pop up on your screen saying you've unlocked this item. Thus, you can use it in the next playthrough. Now, the point I'm trying to get across in RE7 is that you have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 3 special items. Actually, if you want to count infinite ammo as another one, sure, but we're talking actual things you use in a different way other than ammo. So, the first, which, don't get me wrong, I actually do like this special item they did include into the game. I thought it was really cool, and I thought it could be very useful in like a New Game Plus or whatever. This special item being the X-ray glasses. Now, what the X-ray glasses allows you to do is you can see items everywhere. This means in like hidden spots, you can see coins, you can see health upgrades, all sorts of stuff using these glasses, which I think is really cool. Something we've never had in any Resident Evil game that pretty much shows us where items are. I think that they did actually a good job with that special item. The second special item is the circular saw. Now the circular saw is a special melee weapon that is quite strong, but it could have been better. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad special weapon, but you know, I feel like if they would have added an actual firearm as opposed to a melee weapon, it would actually been, I would have no issues. I really wouldn't have no issues with the special items, besides one item. And this one item, no one, and I repeat, no one talks about when they're reviewing Resident Evil 7, whether they're just talking about the game, whether they're adding it in S tier, like whatever, like tiers list or whatever. No one talks about it. But here I am today informing you guys of what the special item is. And you want to know what that is? It is something that you can acquire. I don't know what the requirement is to actually acquire it, but I do know it's not worth it for whatever requirement that is. And that special item is called the walking shoes. Now, if you played RE7, you know Ethan's running speed is atrocious. He moves pretty much like a turtle. Whether you're walking or running, if you actually want to run with Ethan, he can only run, like do an actual run outside. He cannot run inside doors, which I think is pathetic. I don't understand what they were thinking with that mechanic. It's like, if the threat is inside of the home more than outside, what is the actual purpose of him actually running outside? Like, what? How does it make any sense? I would please, I would love for someone to tell me how does that make sense, because I don't get it. Like, if there's no threat outside, wouldn't it make more sense for him to do his like light jog outside than rather inside? I think that would have made more sense. Because like, he's dealing with mold, Jack chasing him around. I think running inside doors would have been the effective idea as opposed to doing it outside. Like, that makes zero sense to me. And I don't know why that is. And for people that want to say, oh, well, you know, maybe people want a slower game. Who cares about a slower game? We're playing Resident Evil. We're not playing walk-in simulator, okay? No one wants to walk around this stupid mansion and feel like they literally can't run, even when they have two molded behind them. They have Jack chasing them down. This guy is it like Jack is faster than you. Like how does that sound? Jack Baker, pretty much like the main villain of the entire game, like the main antagonist, is faster than you. Even on normal difficulty, he's faster than you. On Madhouse, he's faster than you. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. What were they thinking when they said, okay, yeah, let's make I don't know, let's make the main antagonist Jack be faster than you, because, well, we like torturing our players, and we don't even have any, you know, actual beneficial reason as to why we're doing it. We're just doing it just because. That is some grade A BS, man. Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I've just been trying to understand and get people's opinions, saying, hey, do you have any issues with the running? The running mechanic in the game? Usually they'll say no. And I say, it's like, how can you play like that? And it's not only Ethan. Mia also walks / runs, if you want to call that runs, the same. It's the exact same. It's like, why is light jogging a good idea in a life or death situation? That makes zero sense whatsoever to me. It does not. And for anyone who says it does, you're either A, defending the game blindly, or B, you never played it. One or the other. But enough talking about the running mechanic. Now we're going to get into the walking shoes. Now, as I mentioned, This item is only acquired by completing a specific requirement, and I don't remember what that requirement is. If I did, I would have definitely told you guys, but this requirement is, at least I'm hoping it's not crazy, because it's not worth the reward. It really is not worth the reward whatsoever. So when I first played this game and I unlocked the walking shoes, I was saying, oh my god, this is great. You know, I get to finally run. I get to finally run in the game as opposed to just doing a light jog. So I loaded up New Game Plus, went through all the crap you have to go through in the prologue, whatever. Finally get to the like your inventory box. I open it. I equipped the walking shoes, and the first thing I started doing was just running. I didn't care what else. I just started running around the room, and I was saying to myself, hold on, Ethan isn't running any faster. In fact, it's the same exact speed. So I looked at the description again, and it says increases your walking speed, not running speed, walking speed. And when I read that, I was like, you can't be serious. You're telling me that this item, the only thing this item does is increase your walking speed. And guess what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Even with the shoes on, you're still faster by your default run. How does that make any sense? Why would you want to go slower than your default run as if it wasn't slow enough already? What is the actual point of doing that? It doesn't make any sense. And again, I love how in every single tier list, every single review, no one talks about this crap as if it was just left in the dark. But here I am, to this day, finally getting my word out, because I've been holding back on it. I've been saying, you know what? Maybe someone will say something about it. Maybe someone mention it. No, literally no one mentions the walking shoes, which I am thoroughly disappointed as to why they haven't talked about it. Because this is the most pointless item in any Resident Evil game, let alone a special item. Like, you should just get that from the start of the game. Why do you need to unlock that at the end of the game if it doesn't do jack? Literally. So, there you go. That's my little rant on the special weapons / items of the game. I really don't understand what they were thinking with the walking shoes. It is completely pathetic. It is. Completely pathetic. So, I'm gonna get out of this part, and I will see you guys in a sec. Whew. So there you guys have it. We are finished with the Resident Evil 7 / review / whatever you want to call it. But this video was essentially breaking down parts, and I generally feel like as why they destroyed Resident Evil 7 in a whole. And just one more time, I'm saying this the last time, I probably mentioned it twice in the video now, but I'm saying this one last time. This was not meant to be a hate video. This was just simply meant to be me getting my opinion out there and what I generally feel like Capcom should have improved and changed. That's all this video is. This is not a hate video. It's not me saying, oh, you know, I don't like a single thing about Resident Evil 7. Is there? I mean, even though that kind of is true, I don't really like anything about RE7, but I will say that not every single thing that comes out of 7 is terrible. There's only a very, 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 very small amount that is good, but it's not enough. It's not enough for me to actually like the game. So, when people say how RE7 saved the Resident Evil franchise, you honestly should be ashamed of yourself for even saying that. Because you, like, again, half the people that make reviews on this game, tier lists on this game, they're usually very high up. And I would ask myself, it's like, okay, I played through RE7 multiple times. I've done an easy mode playthrough, I've done normal mode playthrough, I've done a Madhouse playthrough, I've done New Game Plus multiple times, and I'm saying to myself, okay, I've played the game enough, I've experienced a lot in it, I've seen pretty much every single bit of the cutscenes, I know the story, so what is it that I'm not getting that people are? You know, it's like, what is it? Is it what, first person? Because if people are gonna say, oh well, you know, this is the first game that's ever actually had first person, no, it's actually not true. If you want to look at one of the side Resident Evil games, being Resident Evil Survivor, that technically was the first-person game in the entire franchise. Now, out of the main games from 1 to 8, yeah, this was the first game to actually have first person. Like, out of the main series, not the side crap, the main series. You could say that, sure. But with that being said, first person didn't do jack for this game. And in fact, I think first person made it worse, if I'm being totally honest, because it's like, why would you want to play a first person Resident Evil game? And how would you enjoy it? You know, it's like, Resident Evil has always been about fixed camera angles and third person views, perspectives from, since Resident Evil 4. But that being said, most people would consider Resident Evil to be a game that just only needs fixed camera angles. Now, I don't really agree with that statement. Not saying I hate fixed camera angles, but I just never really liked them as much as I like over the shoulder perspectives, essentially third person. But I don't feel as first person did anything different for RE7. It didn't make it a great game. It didn't make it unique. It didn't make it innovative. It sucked. Okay, it literally sucked. I'm not holding back when I say that. I generally feel Resident Evil 7, and I don't care how many people in the comments say, oh, well, yeah, you can't forget Resident Evil 6. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Resident Evil 5, as well as Resident Evil 6, has a mechanic and a feature that is not on RE7. You want to know what that feature is? That feature is co-op, okay? Co-op. You can actually have fun with Resident Evil 5 and 6 if you're playing with a friend or a random, whatever. You can actually have fun. I know they're terrible Resident Evil games, but that doesn't mean they can't be decent games in their own category. You know, because Resident Evil 6 obviously doesn't stray away that it's not a Resident Evil game. Seriously, do you think it's appropriate if Ada Wong is body slamming zombies and doing like curb stomps and DDTs and all this bullcrap? Like, it's pretty much like a WWE game at that point. It's not even Resident Evil. So they're not straying away from the fact that this isn't a Resident Evil game. I think they made that very loud and clear. Same with Resident Evil 5. Sort of. Resident Evil 5 had that more, I guess, feel of a Resident Evil game than 6, but you get what I'm saying. It has co-op on both of those games. So, with that being said, RE7 doesn't have co-op, meaning it's like, how are you going to enjoy this game unless you're either a person who's never played a single Resident Evil game and this is your first one and you probably enjoyed it, which is, hey, fair enough. I'm not going to, bash you for that. If you have fun with the game, you have fun with the game. But if you're coming from playing games from the previous, decade or so, like Resident Evil 1 original, Resident Evil 2 original, 3, Nemesis, whatever. If you come from playing those games in 4 to 5 to 6 and then 7, I guarantee you will not enjoy your experience as much as you did with those other games. Now again, RE6 is a terrible game, but you still can have fun with it if you're playing with a friend or random. Same with Resident Evil 5. But in my opinion only, I generally do feel as Resident Evil 7 is the worst game out of the main series. And I'm not sugarcoating when I say that. I feel like it just done so much things wrong. Like, so much things wrong. This isn't just a couple things it missed. This isn't a couple of mechanics it left out. They missed so much out of this game. It actually had potential, believe it or not. It had the potential to be a decent Resident Evil game. But even then, well, not even a decent Resident Evil game, just a decent game. It's one, it's not even a Resident Evil game, that's for one. And two, it's not even a good game. It's like, okay, I get it. Resident Evil took a huge turn ever since Resident Evil 4. But with that being said, at least Resident Evil 4 and 5 and 6 are somewhat decent if you're actually, 5 and 6 is decent if you're playing for a friend. 4 is just good on its own. 4 is probably the best Resident Evil game in the entire franchise, but then you look at this crap and it's like, yeah, what went wrong? What went wrong, It's like, I just can't give an answer. I truly can't. So guys, again, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to give it a like. And again, one more time, This isn't me just coming out of nowhere saying, RE7 is trash, blah, blah, blah. You know, I actually I feel like I made valid points in this video. And I generally do feel like this video could do something to the Resident Evil community. For all I know, I might just get roasted left and right and it didn't achieve a single thing, but I don't care. At least I gotta get my word out there and share it to the public and let people know that this game is absolute trash. I don't care what people say. I don't care how many times they play through the game. I don't care what crap cheap titles they come up for the videos. Resident Evil 7 is the worst game in the entire franchise. Out of the main franchise. We're talking like side games. We all know Umbrella Corps is the worst, but if we're talking about from 1 to 8, RE7 is the worst, in my opinion. In my opinion. If you guys disagree with that, hey, that's absolutely okay. I'm not gonna, bash you for disagreeing with me. You can agree or disagree with me on any of these topics I talked about in this video, and that's it. So again, if you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to give it a like and hit the sub button if you haven't already. If you're new to my channel and this is your first video you happen to see on my channel, if I came off a bit aggressive, I apologize for that. I just getting sick and tired of seeing Resident Evil 7 so high up in tiers. It's in the freaking S tier and the A tier and all this crap, and I'm like saying, what is it? What is actually getting this game up there? Because I don't see it. I really don't see it. In my opinion, it belongs in D tier and it's just staying there. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a comment and give me your thoughts. What do you think about Resident Evil 7 in the whole? We're excluding DLC, just a main game, nothing else, just the main game. We're completely, because DLC it's its own thing on its own. So we're just gonna, maybe I'll make another video about that. If this video does well, I'll make a video as to how the DLC didn't save the game. In fact, I feel like it just made it worse because like everyone played DLC as opposed to the main game. So yeah. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching the video. I love you all from the very bottom of my heart, and I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, you take care now.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. And get down. Yeah.